Howdy, y'all. Welcome to a journey through the spookier side of Kentucky. These here hills and hollers got more than their fair share of ghost stories, legends, and mysteries. From Headless Annie roaming the roads of Harlan County to the beast of the land between the lakes, there's something eerie waiting round every bend. And don't even get me started on Bobby Mackey's music world. Folks say it's got a gateway to hell right there in the basement. Now, if any one of these tales grabs you by the goosebumps, don't worry. We've got you covered with links to the full videos down in the description below, where you can dive deeper into the chilling details of each haunt. So grab a blanket, dim them lights, and let's explore the haints and horrors that make Kentucky one spooky place to call home. Headless Annie. Well now, let me tell you about the dark legend of Black Mountain, up yonder in Harlan County, Kentucky. Back in the day, folks whispered tales about a miner's daughter named Annie. Her pa was deep into the Union fight, trying to get better conditions for the miners. One fateful night, some company men, looking to send a message, stormed into their home. In a brutal act, they decapitated Annie and murdered her pa, leaving her ma to bear the sorrow. Ever since that tragic night, travelers crossing Black Mountain have reported seeing a ghostly figure. Some say they've seen a young girl, sometimes without her head, wandering along the roadside. Others claim she's holding her own severed head in her hands, her eyes filled with a mournful plea. Drivers have felt cold chills, seen their headlights flicker, and heard soft sobbing carried by the mountain winds. Folks around these parts believe Annie's spirit is restless, searching for peace that never came. Her apparition serves as a haunting reminder of the violence and loss that marked Harlan County's past. So, if you ever find yourself driving over Black Mountain, keep your eyes peeled and your heart steady. You might just catch a glimpse of Headless Annie still wandering those lonesome roads. The beast and haunting of the land between the lakes. Well now, gather round and let me tell you about the eerie tales from the land between the lakes. Folks say that when they flooded them valleys to make them lakes, whole towns and cemeteries got swallowed up by the water. On still nights, some claim they can hear the distant tolling of church bells and the mournful cries of them restless spirits echoing up from the depths. Now there's talk of a beast prowling them woods, half man, half wolf, or maybe a big old dog, with eyes that glow like the embers of a moonshiner's fire. Campers have felt its gaze, a cold chill running down their spines, and some have even spotted its hulking figure slinking between the trees. They say it's been there long afore the lakes, a guardian or a curse no one rightly knows. And if that ain't enough to set your hair on end, there's tales of ghostly lights dancing beneath the water's surface, leading folks astray. Fishermen swear they've seen shadowy figures walking along the shores, disappearing into the mist. It's as if the spirits of them buried towns are reaching out, reminding us all of the past that's been covered but not forgotten. Bobby Mackey's Music World. Bobby Mackey's Music World, sitting over yonder in Wilder, Kentucky, sure ain't just your average honky-tonk. Back in the day, that place used to be a slaughterhouse, and folks reckon it's carried a dark shadow ever since. Now it's a nightclub, but people say it's got more ghosts than guests some nights. There's been all kinds of strange goings-on. Folks seeing figures that ain't there, hearing voices whispering when nobody's round, and even folks getting shoved or scratched by something they can't see. That place is famous with ghost hunters and thrill seekers alike, all looking for a brush with the other side. The creepiest tale round there's gotta be about poor Pearl Bryan. Back in 1896, her body got found nearby, missing her head, no less. Rumor has it her killers chucked her head down the old well in the basement, and folks say that well's some sort of gateway to hell. Then there's Joanna, a dancer who loved a feller so much she ended her own life after he was killed. Folks say you can still catch her perfume in the air or hear her singing sad-like in the shadows. But even with all them hauntings, Bobby Mackey's doors stay open, and folks come from far and wide for the music and a shot at seeing something spooky. They even do ghost tours for them brave enough to wander around after dark. It's the kind of place where the past don't let go easy, mixing music, moonshine, and a heaping dose of the supernatural. If you ever want to dance with the living and the dead, well, this here's the spot to do it. The Witch's Tree of Old Louisville. Well now, gather round and let me spin you a yarn about the witch tree over in Old Louisville, Kentucky. Back in the late 1800s, there stood a grand old maple at the corner of 6th Street and Park Avenue. Folks whispered that witches and them voodoo practitioners would gather under its sprawling branches, conjuring and casting their spells. That tree was their sacred spot, a place of power and mystery. But one day, the city folk, in their ignorance, decided to chop down that majestic maple for a May Day celebration. They paid no mind to the warnings, and down came the tree. Well, it weren't long after that a fierce storm rolled in, unleashing its fury on Louisville. Wind howled like a banshee. Rain poured like the heavens done opened up, and the town suffered mightily. Many believed it was the witch's curse, vengeance for the desecration of their hallowed ground. From the stump of that fallen tree, a new one sprouted, twisted and gnarled, looking like something out of a nightmare. They call it the witch tree now, and to this day, folks leave offerings, beads, trinkets, and such, to appease the spirits. Some say, on a quiet night, you can still feel a chill in the air round that tree, as if the witches themselves are watching, reminding us all to respect the old ways and the powers that be. Red Dog Road. Well now, let me tell you about Red Dog Road over in Harlan County, Kentucky. Folks around these parts whisper about a stretch of that road that's as eerie as a moonless night. They say, when the sun dips behind them hills and darkness blankets the hollers, strange things start to happen. Drivers have reported seeing ghostly apparitions drifting across the road, and some even claim their cars stall out for no earthly reason. The air gets thick, and a chill runs down your spine, like someone's walking over your grave. Old-timers spin tales of a miner from way back when who met a tragic end near that very road. They reckon his restless spirit still roams the area, searching for something he lost in life. On certain nights, if you're unlucky enough, you might catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing by the roadside, disappearing as quick as a wink when you get too close. Some folks have heard disembodied voices whispering their names, making the hair on the back of their neck stand straight up. Now, I ain't one to believe in ghost stories, but too many have experienced these hauntings to just brush 'em off. So, if you find yourself driving down Red Dog Road after dark, keep your eyes peeled and your wits about you. The Appalachian hills have secrets they don't give up easy, and some things are better left undisturbed. Sleepy Hollow Road. Well now, let me tell you about Sleepy Hollow Road over yonder near Prospect, Kentucky. Folks around these parts whisper about a stretch of road that's got more spooks than a graveyard at midnight. They say, on certain nights, A black hearse with no driver comes barreling down the lane, chasing after unsuspecting travelers. Some have sworn on their granny's grave they've seen ghostly apparitions and felt a chill that cuts deeper than a January frost. Sleepy Hollow Road hides more than just its eerie curves. It's a place shrouded in chilling mysteries. Tales speak of a strange fog that swallows travelers, stealing hours from their lives and leaving them rattled and disoriented. Near a sinister spot called Devil's Point, rumors of witchcraft and devil worship linger like a dark shadow, with whispers of old rituals, burnt symbols, and chilling encounters with shadowy figures. The air grows heavy there, cold even in summer, and the feeling of unseen eyes watching is enough to freeze your blood. It's a road where time warps, darkness stirs, and the veil between this world and the next feels disturbingly thin. And if that ain't enough to make your hair stand on end, there's the legend of the Crybaby Bridge. They say distraught young mothers toss their unwanted babies into the creek below, and now, on moonless nights, you can hear the anguished wails of both mother and child mingling with the rustling leaves. So, if you ever find yourself on Sleepy Hollow Road after dark, best keep your wits about you and maybe say a little prayer, 'cause you never know what haints might be lurking in the shadows. The Talbott Tavern. Well now, let me tell you about this here tavern, known as the Talbott Tavern, sitting right in Bardstown, Kentucky. Built way back in 1779, it's one of the oldest watering holes round these parts. Over the years, it's hosted all sorts of folks, from pioneers to outlaws. But what's got folks talking is the spirits that ain't left, even after their time's past. Now, they say the ghost of Jesse James himself haunts the place. Legend has it, old Jesse put some bullet holes in the wall, and his restless spirit still roams the halls. Guests have claimed to see apparitions, hear footsteps when no one's there, and even feel a chill that'll raise the hair on the back of your neck. But it ain't just Jesse. There's talk of a lady in a long dress, maybe from the 1800s, who drifts through the rooms. Some reckon she's looking for something or someone lost to time. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, the tales from the Talbott Tavern are enough to make you think twice for dismissing the unknown. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Now, let me tell you, Waverly Hills Sanatorium ain't just some old rundown building sitting atop a hill in Louisville. Nah, this place is thick with history and hauntings that'll make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Back in the day, this hill was peaceful, home to a little schoolhouse, but when the White Plague hit, it turned into one of the biggest TB hospitals in the country. Folks came seeking cures, laid out on porches in the cold, fresh air hoping for a miracle, but most left through what they called the death tunnel. Thousands of souls took their last breath here, and some say their spirits never left. They say Waverly's haunted by all sorts of ghosts. There's Mary, a little girl who's been seen skipping through the halls, her laughter echoing even though she's long gone. And then there's the Creeper, a shadowy figure that crawls along the walls, sending chills down the spines of anyone brave enough to stick around. Folks hear footsteps following them, but when they turn, there's no one there, just the air heavy with something unseen. Cameras catch glimpses of orbs and shadows, and the brave ones who spend the night come out swearing they've been watched by eyes from another world. These days, the Mattingleys are working hard to keep the place alive, turning it into a hotspot for ghost hunters and history buffs alike. They run tours and haunted house events, raising money to restore the old sanatorium while leaning into its spooky legacy. Whether it's the spirits of the past or the stories that still linger in the halls, Waverly Hills is a place where history and haunting collide, and it'll keep drawing folks in, looking for a brush with the other side. The Pope Lick Monster. On the outskirts of the city of Louisville, there's a tale about the Pope Lick Monster, a creature that's been spooking folks round Louisville, Kentucky for generations. They say this beast is half man, half goat, with sharp horns and fur covering its body. Legend has it that it lurks round the old train trestle over Pope Lick Creek, luring unsuspecting folks onto the tracks. Now, some folks reckon the creature uses mimicry, sounding like loved ones or crying babies to draw people in. Once on the trestle, victims find themselves face to face with the beast, or worse yet, caught by an oncoming train, as there's a precious little room to escape. Over the years, there have been accounts of folks meeting their end on that trestle, adding fuel to the legend's fire. Despite the tales, many are drawn to the area, hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature. But locals warn that trestle is active, and trains still rumble across it. Whether you believe in the Pope Lick Monster or not, it's best to admire the legend from a safe distance and steer clear of the tracks. Pilot Knob Cemetery. Well now, let me tell you about the eerie happenings over at Pilot Knob Cemetery, nestled deep in the hills of Kentucky. Back in the early 1900s, there was a young girl named Mary Evelyn Ford, who, along with her mama, was accused of witchcraft by the local folks. In a fit of fear and superstition, they burned the poor child at the stake, and to keep her spirit from wandering, they buried her in a grave surrounded by an iron fence, believing it would trap her restless soul. Now, over the years, folks who've dared to visit that old graveyard have come back with spine-chilling tales. They speak of seeing a little girl's apparition within that fenced plot, her eyes filled with sorrow. Some have felt sudden cold chills, even on the warmest days, and others claim to have heard faint whispers carried by the mountain breeze. A few unlucky souls reported leaving the cemetery with mysterious scratches on their skin, as if unseen hands had reached out from beyond. The locals reckon that Mary's spirit remains trapped, unable to find peace. They say that iron fence was meant to keep her contained, but it seems her sorrow and anger seep through, touching all who come near. So, if you ever find yourself near Pilot Knob, remember to tread lightly and show respect, for the past lingers long in these parts, and the spirits don't take kindly to trespassers. Now that you've heard the tales of these haunted locations here in the Bluegrass States, what do you think? Have you ever felt the hair on the back of your neck stand up like something unseen was watching you? Or maybe you've been to one of these places and seen something you can't quite explain. What's the spookiest spot in Kentucky you've heard about, or maybe even visited yourself? Tell us in the comments if you're brave enough. And if you're craving more chills and thrills, don't forget to click the cards at the end or check the links down in the description for the full stories. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. But be warned, it just might haunt you if you don't. Stay curious, stay spooky, and remember, not all shadows are empty.